What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hoops Post Up. We're here to talk about the NBA restart, and we're going to give a little progress reports on what's going on, team by team breakdown, what we've seen so far about halfway through this NBA restart. And little teacher shout out there as progress reports. We're both teachers, so I think it was only right. You like that title there?
No, I don't want to think about work.
No. It's still our
Not
summer.
at all. But we will break down a little bit of what's going on in this season so far.
That's some interesting results so far. I know it's early, but things aren't exactly breaking the way that everybody thought they would. So let's start with the Eastern Conference. We're going to go again team by team. I want to get your thoughts on what do you think, if anything, that their early start means for these contenders. All right, let's start with the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, the number one seed in the East, clear favorite. They really don't need to do much, just kind of show up in the bubble, right? And they're going to have the number one seed locked up. But not the best start for them. They've got a couple of losses already, including a shocking one to Brooklyn. And I don't mean Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Brooklyn. I mean whatever G League version you can call this version of Brooklyn.
Right. So before we talk about this, I know you and I have had this discussion on whether the top teams are just coasting to find their way to the playoffs, or are they putting, their full effort into every game. So for Milwaukee, I think of that team, right? They are, 5 games out of everybody else?
At least 5 or 6. I don't know at this point today. Things change so quick, but 5 or 6. Yeah, they probably dropped to 5.
5 or 6 games out of everyone else to take that number one spot. So they've had a couple of losses. They didn't play Giannis in the fourth quarter the last couple of games.
Actually, I don't know. I know in the last game when they lost, again, shockingly to Brooklyn, but yeah, Giannis didn't play, I don't think, the whole second half, and neither did Chris Middleton. So, when you look at that, you kind of have to take that loss with a huge grain of salt. So, do you think this basically means nothing? Like, do Bucks fans have a reason to worry?
I think Coach Bud is doing what he should be doing, and I think he's taking it easy because there's so many, there's injuries, right? You have seen some injuries happen in the last couple of games with some key players, and I think he's playing it safe. I think he's going to take it easy with his most important players, his starters, and that is the result. He's giving some playing time to some of the bench players, and I think that's part of the reason why they haven't been as successful as we know they can be.
Sounds like he's taking a page out of Pop's playbook, right? That's such a Pop thing to do, kind of rest the starters. And, honestly,
this would be typical in a regular season.
Well,
as
that's
you're
true.
Approaching the end of the regular season, you take it easy the last week or two.
Well, when you've got the top seed locked up, what's the point? Especially in this situation, like you said, injuries, illnesses, whatever.
You don't want to take any chances.
There's no point. Okay, so zero concern about the Bucks.
I'm not concerned about the Bucks.
All right, yeah. I wouldn't read too much into it. Again, even if they do lose, whatever happens this restart, they're still a top seed. I think they'll be fine. So let's not read too much into that. Now, the Raptors, the opposite. They're all of a sudden red hot. Is Fred VanVleet like a superstar all of a sudden?
I am telling you, we talked about this early on, and I said, do not count out the Raptors to take it. Do not.
That's true.
Because they are hungry. They're ready to prove something to everyone that they didn't need the number 2, whatever his name is. And I say number 2.
I love you. It's number 2.
That's right.
There's an emoji that goes with that. But it's true, and I'll give you all the props because before the season, the preseason, one of the first episodes we ever did was our regular season predictions. And my probably worst one was that the Raptors would kind of fall flat, especially to start the season. I think the first week they had a tough schedule. I thought they were going to lose their first couple, and it was the opposite. And now, same thing. It's like, the thing is, I always say, okay, the NBA is predicated on superstars. You need the guy who can carry the team, come through in the clutch. And they don't have that, Spicy P, love him, but he's not there yet, right? I think we can all admit, Siakam's not a superstar. But all of a sudden, VanVleet looks like he is. He's the guy who wants the ball. He's putting up points. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be like another, Kawhi Leonard or something like that, but I'm just saying this
But
team
what
looks like it doesn't care that it doesn't have a superstar.
No, what he's doing when he's on the court, he's very effective. He is extremely effective when he's on the court, and his minutes matter and they count. And when he's out there, he's giving it all, and he's making the other team pay for that.
And you know what? Don't count this out too. This does matter. Going to be a free agent. So I think he's got some dollar signs up in his eyes when he's shooting those shots. He's got something to play for, right? It's like this team already has a ring. They don't have to be hungry. They still have something to prove, right? Siakam wants to prove he's a star. Lowry wants to prove that he can win, maybe without Kawhi. And then, Van Vliet wants to prove that he's, worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
So Toronto off to a good start. That's definitely something to watch. The Celtics.
Wow. I didn't expect this from the Celtics in this season. Like, they have had so many ups and downs throughout this season, and that inconsistency continues to follow them.
So inconsistent for sure. Lost to the Heat, which was nice to see the other day. And then today, I think it was, they scored 149 points.
Like no one's
something insane.
Defense.
Like they haven't scored that since like the Larry Bird days. I think it was like 92 actually. But the Celtics blew. Now again, this was against the Nets. All right, but then again, the Nets did just beat the Bucks. But then again, the Bucks did rest their starters. So I don't know. The point is, the Celtics. I don't know what to expect, and I don't think I know what to expect in the playoffs from them either.
Right. I just see too many things happening to them where they're not maybe they're not trusting each other on the court. Maybe they're having too many rotations in and out. Can't figure out who their starting five are.
Well, that's a good point because Kemba, has been out. He's had some injuries. Hayward is always in and out. And they do move some things around. So it could be that. It could be just that inconsistency with the rotation, right? Not having that kind of same chemistry from game to game. So I don't know. I guess this is what we should expect. Is we don't know what to expect from the Celtics. So who knows? Let's move on to my team, of course, the Heat. Kind of the same thing. They looked bad the other day. They lost to Denver, and then they looked great. And Duncan Robinson had an off game, and then he decided to show up and did what he does, and he made shots. To me, this is a team that could be a sleeper team, not just because I'm a lifelong Heat fan, but we talked about the need for D and 3, right? Those D and 3 guys are more valuable than ever, and we don't just have one guy. We have a whole team of them, right? That's what the Heat are. Spoelstra is all about the defense, the team defense. You don't play defense, you're not welcome.
They play collectively, and they are counting on each other. They really are counting on each other. It's not just a one-man game out there on the court. And for the Heat, I'm not concerned. I'm not worried.
Yeah, and the other thing is the Heat, along with this next team we're going to talk about, this bubble doesn't really make a difference. They're kind of not exactly locked in, but they're probably not going to make much movement unless they go on a really, really hot or cold streak. So the Heat is probably going to wind up being the 4th or the 5th seed. Indiana right now, the 5th seed, could move their way up. We already talked about them as kind of the surprise sleeper team coming out of the East.
Just keep an eye on them. Is it their schedule that they've had coming out, or is there something else really there for them?
Yeah, so we broke this whole thing down. Our other episode, go and watch that. We talked about the biggest risers, fallers, talk about our surprise teams, and the East. TJ Warren definitely making a name for himself. All right, let's move on to Philadelphia. I don't know. What do you say about Philadelphia? Ben Simmons got hurt today. We don't know how serious it is. That could make a difference, but they say it was nothing major.
No, they say his knee. Was it his knee?
It was his knee. I think from what I saw, they said the MRI came back clean, but knee is never something to mess around with.
With the Sixers, though, I never know what to expect. Honestly, there's such a disconnect, and I don't know how to. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. It's always something different when I see the Sixers, unfortunately. I don't know who's going to step up. Sometimes Embiid does show up and he wants to play, and other times I'm just seeing a mess on the court.
I know now not to expect much. They were my preseason pick for Eastern Conference champion.
I believe so.
I'm backing off of that, yeah. This team, they have the talent. That's what's crazy. They have the talent. It's just, I don't know if it's the mix of what's on the court. Some people are coming out and saying, oh, they'll play better now that Ben Simmons isn't on the court. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. I would never believe that. They're not going to be better by trading him or anything like that. They're good when they're focused. And like you said, when Embiid shows up and is, 100% on. which happens like every
Just
other
seems
game.
to lack leadership on that team. I don't see them driven by anyone, and so the others.
And that's why they brought Horford. He was supposed to bring that leadership, and
I
I mean,
haven't seen anything.
I don't think much has changed. So, they're just kind of there, right? They're just kind of succeed. I wouldn't be surprised to see them bounce in the first round. Brooklyn, kind of talked about already. The whatever you call this Brooklyn team, name their top 3 players right now.
Yeah, couldn't.
Chioza, I think Chris Chioza. I don't know. So Brooklyn's there. Honestly, I had said Brooklyn would be better off tanking and falling out of the playoffs. That's not going to happen because there's no one who's going to pass them. I don't really know how much we need to talk about these last couple teams. Orlando is just clinging on to the 8th seed. Now they don't have Jonathan Isaac. So, they're going to be bounced pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, I don't see much coming from either of those teams that we just mentioned.
Do you think either team has a chance to, I won't even say win a series. Do you think that either team is going to win a game in the first round of the playoffs?
No, I really don't see much going on with these 2 teams that we just talked about. Orlando,
It's
Brooklyn.
Been a while since we could say a
quite
team.
sad, actually.
Yeah, it's been a while since we could say a team at the bottom of the Eastern Conference had a chance to do anything but make the playoffs. And then Washington.
Washington doesn't have their.
Do we feel just bad for Washington at this point? I mean, you kind of have to feel bad for them.
I mean, there's nothing not to like. I mean, there's
Hachimura. He's a nice young
got
player,
good players, sweet players, kind players.
There you go. All right, moving on to the West. Bertans isn't there. Beal isn't there. Wall has never been there all year.
They have so many players that aren't there. What can they do?
They can play out the last 8 games. Yeah, they can help some other teams maybe make the playoffs. There you go.
Hey, there you go.
All right, so that's the East. Let's move on to the West. All right, Lakers. They pretty much have the number 1 seed locked up. Now, again, kind of like the Bucks, they've lost, 2 out of 3, I think?
Yeah, but they're taking it easy. They're just taking it easy. Yeah, no one's going to take a chance of getting hurt. They're not. They're just waiting this out and just kind of coasting through, and it's going to be theirs in the end. There's too much talent on that team.
Yeah, and LeBron is not the type who likes to lose, even if he knows there's nothing on the line. But I don't think they're going 100% either. Let's say, do we care what the Lakers do the rest of this bubble restart?
No, I don't. I'm not a Lakers fan. Sorry, but I'm not a Lakers fan. Never have been.
I've been told,
never will be,
from a friend who is a Lakers fan, that Lakers fans, it's kind of like wake me up when you get to the finals. Like
they're all just sitting and waiting. This is boring to them.
Must be nice. Clippers, on the other hand, care a lot about this. They would really love to catch the Lakers. They're not going to do it though. That really disappointing last second loss to Phoenix, but what do you make of the Clippers so far? They looked really strong before that, right? Their first couple of games out.
Yeah, they're going to manage the minutes of the people on the team, and they're going to do what they do. But I think they'll be fine. I think when it comes to playoffs is when they're going to actually show up.
Is it important?
Play hard.
In fact, actually, are you surprised there hasn't been more load management for the Clippers? We see Kawhi kind of out there, not playing full minutes like he's going to play in the playoffs, but almost surprised he's even playing at all.
His minutes are shortened, so it really isn't. He really isn't out there that long, and he has to condition himself like he does. He's out there maybe not because he wants to, but he has to condition himself to be ready for the playoffs.
Well, that's a good point. If you do too much, right? If you're not in shape, that's even worse, right? He's got to get out there and stretch his legs a little bit. So, that's a good point. What about Denver? Now, this is a team.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I'm almost jumping on the bandwagon here. I know you've been a fan for a while. This is a team that could be a sleeper that makes a run. I'm telling you, Lakers, Clippers, those teams aren't invincible, right?
Mm-hmm. And Murray's not even playing.
Exactly. So Jamal Murray should be back. Who knows? Any day. It's a hamstring. But that has allowed Michael Porter Jr. to emerge. Is this a good thing?
Erupt would be the appropriate word for that. I mean, he has been a beast.
Lighting it up, career high 37 the other day. A lot of times when somebody gets hurt, it turns out to be a blessing in disguise. Somebody else steps up. Porter could be a guy they lean on in the playoffs. Even though he's technically a rookie.
How is it? That must just be a well-coached team. Because how do you get those players to just step up and then make it happen? Like, we're still struggling. Like, I don't have a team that makes it happen, right?
Yeah. But that's a good point because, again, we just talked about Toronto, right? What is it? You have to give some credit to Nurse and right, the coaching staff for keeping it together. And same thing with Denver. It's not just one guy. I know Jokic obviously is kind of a star and Murray, but you have to give credit to Malone and the coaching staff too.
Coaching staff for sure.
So
They're
there you go.
Keeping their guys ready.
Denver, again, not undefeated yet, and I don't think they're going to necessarily blaze through this restart, but this is a team you definitely want to keep an eye on in the playoffs. And the Utah Jazz, a lot of people's kind of preseason sleeper. I mean, they kind of status quo with them. I
am just kind of neutral with Utah at this point. I'm not seeing anything too exciting happening, and
they are what they are.
Just kind of there.
Let me ask you then, between Denver and Utah, which of these teams do you think could push one of the LA teams? And maybe
definitely Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, okay. That's gonna be my choice for sure.
Yeah, kind of have to agree. I know a lot of people like Utah. I'm still with Denver. The Rockets. We just move on. Just Rockets. We know they're not.
It's always so hard to talk about the Houston Rockets. We live in Texas. I'm sorry,
but that's not even it. Oh, maybe it's partly it. I guess.
They're just a little extra.
It's not just the Spurs thing.
I don't care for the coach.
No,
it's so hard.
It's not just the Spurs thing, though, right?
No,
I'm not a Harden fan.
No.
The style of play.
I love Westbrook. I love him. Right. Yeah. That is a guy who's you know you're going to count on. He's going to give 150%. He's all over the place. You've got to love him. But Harden,
Look, this is a team. You know what? You're shooting well. You shoot 40-something% from three.
They're not going to go any farther.
You
They're
will
not going to go with that system.
A 7-game series that way.
It's not going to happen. It will never happen.
It will not happen.
We're saying it, and you're saying it.
I've been saying it for years.
Everyone is saying it. Everybody knows.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter what they do. OKC. I mean, they're hanging in there. They got Chris Paul.
Chris Paul's doing his thing. He is. I was ripping Chris Paul for days, weeks, months, years. And he is doing it for his team. I like how he's pulled them together.
Playoff sleeper?
Maybe. Yeah.
This is I feel like this is one of those teams that's going to be like a tough out, but it's going to be an out. Like, I don't think they're going to pull off any massive upset, right? I think they'll get through the second round. They'll really fight, and push some team to the edge, but I don't feel like they're going to break through. I don't think they have just the depth, I guess. Dallas Mavericks, this is a team I think, this is my dark horse, and not that I'm a fan of Dallas either, but Luka, I feel like everyone, what they say with Dallas is, oh, Luka's so amazing. Well, they have other guys too. That's what we forget. It's so easy to forget about everybody else.
Watching him and Porzingis the other day.
I know. That's a tough, tandem to stop. But Tim Hardaway Jr. is also a quality player. He can score. They're a little light on the defense sometimes. But, this is a team I'm kind of keeping an eye on too.
And they're fun to watch. They really are.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
If nothing else. All right. Memphis. Well, we've talked about them in our other episode, but I mean, did they pull it together?
I don't know what's going on with Memphis. I don't know if they just too young and they don't have the experience. But it's not what I expected in the bubble. Like, I expected them to still be that contender, and I'm not seeing it.
Definitely young, obviously, and again, obviously losing Jaren Jackson, that
definitely hurts them.
It seals their fate, but when you lose him, but I'm surprised. I'm not really surprised they're losing. Because they're so young, like I said, inexperienced. A lot of people thought Portland would catch up to them, maybe the Spurs, maybe another team, which it looks like maybe Phoenix. But to me, I'm surprised that even before Jackson was hurt, that they just haven't been as competitive. But to me, I'm more surprised that Ja Morant hasn't really shown up. You know what I mean? Where some guys are stepping up, like Devin Booker is, and Morant kind of hasn't. So maybe the rookie wall. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I can use that excuse when you have 2 months off.
I still want to watch.
Yeah. It's still an exciting team. Definitely a team, but we always knew they were a year or two away.
Yeah.
So, and the Blazers.
Wow. I'm impressed with the Portland Trailblazers. Can't say that. Portland Trailblazers. I am.
It's almost to the point where we just say now, you know what, they're going to make the playoffs, right? They're going to jump into the 8th seed, or they're going to win that play-in.
They just have motivation, and they have that desire to push, and it looks beautiful with Melo. And I mean, Lillard he's not going to give up. He is hungry.
And that you can't underestimate that, the hunger for a ring when you haven't gotten one, and to prove yourself to be an elite team. Are you going to take?
And they're so confident in every decision they're making on the
Yep.
court. There is no hesitation. Like, they have come to play, and it looks like they've been training for a while.
And I question, because Dame was hesitant at first to even come back, and he's like, well, what? But yeah, they're hungry. So speaking of hesitation, are you willing to take the bold step and do what some people have said and say they might beat the Lakers in a first round series? Could they beat the Lakers in the first round if they sneak into the playoffs? No. Okay. Not that far.
Not that far. Yeah, so I don't think Portland is going to be able to take the Lakers in 7. There's no way. There's no way. The Lakers are just too tough. They have too many quality players, star players, superstar players. I don't know. It would be fun to watch, though. It would be exciting to see.
Series. I definitely want to watch that series. So, I don't know. I'm giving them a chance. I think it's possible. Portland does have some depth now with Melo.
Let's do it.
It makes a difference. I wouldn't be sad. But yeah, Portland definitely a team everyone's watching out for. The Spurs. I'm going to let you have the first and last word here.
Okay, well,
You've watched every game, right?
They've come out looking really good, right? And then the last couple of minutes, not so much. Like, we can't finish. We can't finish to get over the hump. Like, we were so close to win the last game we lost by 6, but we were in there. We were in the whole entire game until the end, right? And then against, who was it? We lost by 2 to Philadelphia 76ers, right? We looked good. We were competing, but DeMar doesn't seem to be clutch. Like, that's who they're going to in the end. And then, I'm sorry, I'm not getting enough from DeJounte. I don't feel like we have a strong point guard to take us where we need to go.
All truth. Truth hurts sometimes. They're shooting that last possession. DeMar thought he was going to shoot it, and they dished it off. Not a bad idea, but you want Pirtle taking the last shot, or should he have just taken? He should have just pulled up.
He should have taken.
Right. Shake Milton had no problem pulling up for a 3 and hitting that 3. Yeah, I agree with you there. DeMar had a strong game, but there's just not enough, right? And it's not even about Aldridge not being there. There's not enough experience.
There's just not enough depth to that team and strength.
It's what we've
even
seen all
with
year,
our starters,
right? Don't you feel like what we've seen in the bubble is what we've seen all year?
Yes.
Just up and down, but they just can't put it together at the end of the game.
At the end of the game, like
and
I
there's
said,
no defense.
they're still lacking defense.
All right. Same old story. If you've seen our Spurs episodes, it's kind of the same. It doesn't look like it's happening this year. It looks like the streak is coming to an end.
I'm kind of waiting for this season to be over for us, and I'm looking for the future.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. The Phoenix Suns, I don't think we need to say too much. We already did.
Do you remember? I was watching Phoenix more this season than my own team.
Phoenix
because
has been
I
fun.
love this team. I love the players on this team. They're exciting to watch. Oh, running up and down the court and how they move the ball. It is beautiful. And Devin Booker. Come on over to the Spurs, Devin.
That's wishful thinking. So, yeah, the Suns, if you want to get our full thoughts on them, check out another episode. Talk about Phoenix rising in the bubble so far. Might make a push. A team that's not is the Pelicans. I'll tell you what, though. I looked... the Pelicans, you thought, well, they weren't going to make it anyways this year. They were so young, right? This was just kind of a building year. Zion
wants to play, but they can't. They're managing his minutes. He can't.
Yeah, he's not ready, right, to step up. But you know what? I looked at the schedule the rest of the way. They actually have a really easy rest of the season. 5 games left. They have a really easy schedule, so there's a chance. I'm not saying they're going to make 8 or 9 seed. I don't think they will, but I'm just saying that they should finish stronger than they've started. So. And then Sacramento is Sacramento. All right. So there you go. Progress reports as far as the NBA bubble. We're about halfway through the NBA restart. We'll give our final report card once it all comes to an end, and then we'll talk about the actual playoff matchups, which we're definitely looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Raptors. I'm looking forward to watching Phoenix.
If they make it. Phoenix, Portland, it'll be interesting. If it winds up being Phoenix, Portland, the 8-9 seed, that play-in tournament, that'll be fun to watch just by itself.
As well. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on all social media. And don't forget to check us out at hoopspostup.com. This guy's a writer, and he has amazing content written for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Of course, hit that like button, that subscribe button, like she said. And check back again next week for more NBA content.
All right, everyone. Be safe and peace and love.